ॐ नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ॐ नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ॐ नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। नारायणं नमस्कृत्य नरं चैव नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जायमुदीरयेत्। नष्टप्रायेषु अभद्रेषु नित्यं भागवत सेवया भगवतीरुत्तमश्लोके भक्तिर्भवति नैष्टिकी। ॐ अज्ञानतिमिरन्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूपकदा मह्यं ददाति स्वपदान्तिकम्। नमो विष्णुपादाय कृष्णप्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्त स्वामीनिति नामिने। नमस्ते सरस्वते देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्यदेशतारिणे। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभो नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्त वृंद। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। Hare Krishna, reading from Srimad Bhagavatam by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. We are reading from Canto 4, Chapter 14, the story of King Vena. So, we are in the section currently where the great sages, Muniya Urchu, headed by Bhrigu Muni, they are instructing Vena about the duty of the king. So, we are at text 18. So, nice verse it is. यस्य राष्ट्रे पुरे चैव भगवान् यज्ञपूरुषः यजन्ते स्वेन धर्मेण जनैर्वर्णाश्रमान्वितैः. Translation.
The king is supposed to be pious, in whose state and cities the general populace strictly observes the system of 8 social orders of Varna and Ashrama, and where all citizens engage in worshipping the Supreme Personality of Godhead by their particular occupations. Purport. The state's duty and the citizen's duty are very nicely explained in this verse. The activities of the government head or king, as well as the activities of the citizens, should be so directed that ultimately everyone engages in devotional service to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. The king or government head is supposed to be the representative of the Supreme Personality of Godhead and is therefore supposed to see that things go on nicely and that the citizens are situated in the scientific social order comprised of 4 varnas and 4 ashramas. In the Vishnu Purana, it is stated that unless people are educated or situated in the scientific social order comprised of 4 varnas, that is Brahmana, Kshatriya, Vaishya, and Shudra, and 4 ashramas, that is Brahmacharya, Grihastha, Vanaprastha, and Sannyasa, society can never be considered real human society, nor can it make any advancement towards the ultimate goal of human life. It is the duty of the government to see that things go on in terms of Varna and Ashrama, as stated here in Bhagavan Yajna Purusha. The Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna, is the Yajna Purusha. As stated in the Bhagavad Gita 5.29, Bhoktaram Yajna Tapasam, Krishna is the ultimate purpose of all sacrifices. He is also the enjoyer of all sacrifices. Therefore, he is known as Yajna Purusha. The word Yajna Purusha indicates Lord Vishnu or Lord Krishna, or any personality of Godhead in the category of Vishnu Tattva. In perfect human society, people are situated in the orders of Varna and Ashrama and are engaged in worshipping Lord Vishnu by their respective activities. Every citizen engaged in an occupation renders service by the resultant actions of his activities. That is the perfection of life. As stated in Bhagavad Gita 18.46, Yataha pravrittirabhutanaam yena sarvam idam tatam swakarmana tam abhyarcha siddhim vindati manavaha. By worship of the Lord, who is the source of all beings and who is all pervading, man can, in the performance of his own duty, attain perfection. Thus, the Brahmanas, Kshatriyas, Shudras, and Vaishyas must execute their prescribed duties as these duties are stated in the Shastras. In this way, everyone can satisfy the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Vishnu. The king or government head has to see that the citizens are thus engaged. In other words, the state or the government must not deviate from its duty by declaring that the state is a secular one, which has no interest in whether or not the people advance in Varnashrama Dharma. Today, people engaged in government service and people who rule over the citizens have no respect for the Varnashrama Dharma. They complacently feel that the state is secular. In such a government, no one can be happy. The people must follow the Varnashrama Dharma, and the king must see that they are following it nicely. Hare Krishna.
So, yasya rashtre pure chaiva bhagavan yajña purusha. So we have seen that the king is supposed to be pious, whose state and cities in general populace strictly observe the Varnashrama Dharma principles for the satisfaction of the Supreme Lord. So following Varnashram and pleasing the Supreme Personality of Godhead. This is the constant theme in the instructions that is being awarded by the sages. In the purport, Srila Prabhupada explains it is state's duty and citizen's duty is very beautifully explained in this verse. So, what is the duty of the state? The duty of the state is that the state has to see everyone is ultimately engaged in devotional service to the Supreme Lord as per one's Varna and Ashrama. So, people are very scientifically divided into Brahmana, Kshatriya, Vaishya, Shudra based on Guna Karma Vibhagashaha, and they are scientifically given the order of Brahmacharya, Grihastha, Vanaprastha, and Sannyas. And by the scientific division of the society, 4 Varna and 4 Ashrama, what happens? First thing happens is things go on very nicely. Right? Modern day education is that they want everybody to learn everything. And I mean, we all must have learned integration, differential, double integration, this and that. And God knows how many people use that in daily activities. People say, no, it improves problem solving skills, but hardly that is the case. Okay. In fact, I have done my PhD in mathematics, mathematical modeling, but I have rarely used even the double, triple integration and all those cos theta, san theta, tech theta, cot theta. And what happens is people, they do not develop their skills. Varnashram is exactly different. Varnashram, right from the beginning, the child is understood to be, oh, this child is a fish, teach swimming. This child is a bird, teach, the flying in the sky. This child is. So, based on one's specific psychophysical nature, the person is trained. So, the person is very happy. Right, we have discussed this previously. Modern day, the problem is person's inclination, person's means swabhava, person's training, and person's occupation, they are not in sync. Person's inclination is something, his swabhava is something, and occupation is something else only. And therefore, there is a lot of disharmony in the modern situation. But that is not the case with Varnashrama society. Varnashrama acharavat purushena parapuman Vishnut aradhyate pumsah nanyat tattosha karanam sam siddhir haritoshanam. So, following Varnashram for the pleasure of the Supreme Lord. Who is Supreme Lord? He is Yajña Purusha. Bhoktaram Yajña Tapasam Sarvaloka Maheshwaram. Lord Krishna is Yajña Purusha. Lord Rama is Yajña Purusha. Lord Vishnu is Yajña Purusha. Prabhupada says here, any Vishnu Tattva category is Yajña Purusha. And the citizens are supposed to be engaged in the service of this Yajña Purusha. How? Of course, there is a direct service is one, but Swakarmana Tamachabhyarcham Siddhim Vindanti Manavah. What a beautiful definition and concept this is. One should worship the Lord by performance of one's duties very nicely and thus attain the perfection. Right. So, by this, what happens? Even the lady cooking in the house, that becomes devotional service. Somebody is, doing a teaching, that becomes devotional service. Somebody, the student studying for the exams, that becomes devotional service. So all the activities, swakarmana, we don't have to give up the activities. We have to engage in the activities in the service of the Supreme Lord by changing one's consciousness. And this is, the institute I work, VIT, we had this logo tagline previously. Karmana tamacha simdhim vindanti manavah. That by engaging, how thoughtful it was. Of course, now things changed and the tagline is also changed. But this was the tagline, right? Further, Srila Prabhupada writes, it is the king's duty that he has to see the citizens are thus engaged. If the citizens are not engaged like that, they will be engaged in many other anartha activities. Anartha in English is translated as nonsensical activities, that it has no meaning. And therefore, states should not simply declare that we are secular and we have nothing to do with religion, but the state has to intervene. And Prabhupada says this complacency may feel that the state is secular, but actually no one is happy. The people must follow Varnashram Dharma, and the king must see that they are following this very nicely. Right. So we come to text 19. Tasya Rajnyo Mahabhaga Bhagavan Bhuta Bhavanah Parituchyatti Vishvatma Tishtato Nija Shasane. Translation.
O noble one, if the king sees that the Supreme Personality of Godhead, the original cause of the cosmic manifestation and the supersoul within everyone is worshipped, the Lord will be satisfied. Purport. It is a fact that the government's duty is to see that the Supreme Personality of Godhead is satisfied by the activities of the people as well as by the activities of the government. There is no possibility of happiness if the government or citizenry have no idea of Bhagwan, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who is the original cause of the cosmic manifestation, or if they have no knowledge of Bhuta Bhavana, who is Vishwatma, or the super soul, the soul of everyone's soul. The conclusion is that without engaging in devotional service, neither the citizens nor the government can be happy in any way. At the present moment, neither the king nor the governing body is interested in seeing that the people are engaged in the devotional service of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Rather, they are more interested in advancing the machinery of sense gratification. Consequently, they are becoming more and more implicated in the complex machinery of the stringent laws of nature. People should be freed from the entanglement of the three modes of material nature, and the only process by which this is possible is surrender unto the Supreme Personality of Godhead. This is advised in Bhagavad Gita. Unfortunately, neither the government nor the people in general have any idea of this. They are simply interested in sense gratification and in being happy in this life. The word Nija Sashane in his own governmental duty indicates that both the government and the citizens are responsible for the execution of the Varnashrama Dharma. Once the populace is situated in the Varnashrama Dharma, there is every possibility of real life and prosperity both in this world and in the next.
Further, the sages are advising, O noble one. Now look at the sages, sir. What all things they are using. What are the words they are addressing with? Vena, who is a debauchee, a rogue, who is sitting as the king. First, they begin with, my dear sir, Tata, this will increase your Ayu, Shri, Balakirti. Then they are saying that, now they are saying, Mahabhaga, O Mahabhagyavan. And they are saying, Praja Nrupaha, O my dear king. So, how respectfully these great personalities are approaching Vena, whom they only have enthroned Vena, right? Although he was not very qualified. And later we'll see response of the Vena, and that angers the sages, in a big way. So how they are saying that now they are saying that you are Mahabhaga, oh greatly fortunate one, oh noble one. If the king sees the supreme is worshipped, then the Lord will be actually pleased. In the purport, Srila Prabhupada explains, government's duty is to see that the supreme personality of Lord Godhead is pleased by activities of people and the activities of the government. The Lord is called as a Bhuta Bhavanaha. That means, without engaging in devotional service, neither the citizen nor the government can be very happy. And that's why this moment when Modi ji inaugurated, the Rama Janmabhoomi temple, this was such an amazing moment. The Rama Janmabhoomi temple we had 500 years of struggle to establish this temple. I had spoken very elaborately on the Rama Janmabhoomi Ka Itihas. And there, when we were studying, it was practically impossible what happened. But this is, the great achievement of the modern government is to re-establish that Rama Janmabhoomi temple. And these activities are very pleasing to the Supreme Lord. We should not be apologetic about this, right? It is very important. When the right government is doing right thing, we should be rightly behind that right government. The present moment, neither the king nor the government body is interested in seeing the people are engaged in devotional service. Okay, this is in general. So, but and people and generally advancement. What is advancement currently? Advancement means they will simply, say what is the GDP, and there cannot be a greater joke than measuring advancement of the civilization with GDP. Okay, just like for example, if a maid is working in the house, and then she is considered, oh, one employment, one salary. But if that maid becomes the bahu in the house, the GDP goes down. Why? Because the one employment is lost, one salary has reduced. Okay, this is the very funny definition of the GDP. So, advancement of the civilization should not be measured in terms of the material comforts, because more and more we as an individual or a society or the nation or the civilization tries for the material comforts, more and more they will be caught in the complexities of the material nature. Right? Prabhupada write the same in purport of Hare Krishna Mahamantra. Prabhupada, writes the same thing. The stringent laws of the material nature. That's Prabhupada's. And Prabhupada writes here, stringent laws of the material nature. And therefore it is advised in Bhagavad Gita. Then here it is Nija Shasane. Nija Shasane means both the government and the citizens, they are responsible for this Varnashrama Dharma. Even we are also responsible. How? Because in our Shasan, what is our Shasan? Within our house, wherever we are, in the decision making, we have to see that the things are Nija Shasane, things are Varnashram. If my son, my daughter is interested to become, the engineer, then I should not just push him to become a doctor because we are in the family of the doctors. And so many, this is just the abrupt example, but so many other things. So we have to see that our children, our people, they are engaged according to their varna and ashram. And that Lord Krishna, who is a Vishwatma, is also a center of our activities. This is Nija Shasana. Text 20. तस्मिन् तुष्टे किमप्राप्यं जगतामीश्वरैश्वरे लोकासपाराहे तस्मैन् हरन्तिं बलिमाधृता. Translation.
The Supreme Personality of Godhead is worshipped by the great demigods who are controller of universal affairs. When he is satisfied, nothing is impossible to achieve. For this reason, all the demigods preceding deities of different planets, as well as the inhabitants of their planets, take great pleasure in offering all kinds of paraphernalia for his worship. Purport: all Vedic civilization is summarized in this verse. All living entities, either on this planet or on the other planets, have to satisfy the Supreme Personality of Godhead by their respective duties. When he is satisfied, all the necessities of life are automatically supplied. In the Vedas, it is also stated, Eko Bahunam Yo Vidadhati Kaman, Katha Upanishad 2.2.13. From the Vedas, we understand that he is supplying everyone's necessities, and we can actually see that the lower animals, the birds and the beasts, have no business or profession yet are not dying for want of food. They are all living in nature's way, and they all have the necessities of life provided, namely eating, sleeping, mating, and defending. Human society, however, has artificially created a type of civilization which makes one forgetful of his relationship with the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Modern society even enables one to forget the Supreme Personality of Godhead's grace and mercy. Consequently, modern civilized man is always unhappy and in need of things. People do not know that the ultimate goal of life is to approach Lord Vishnu and satisfy him. They have taken this materialistic way of life as everything and have become captivated by materialistic activities. Indeed, their leaders are always encouraging them to follow this path, and the general populace, being important of the being ignorant of the laws of God, are following their blind leaders down the path of unhappiness. In order to rectify this world situation, all people should be trained in Krishna consciousness and act in accordance with the Varnashram system. The state should also see that the people are engaged in satisfying the Supreme Personality of Godhead. This is the primary duty of the state. The Krishna consciousness movement was started to convince the general populace to adopt the best process by which to satisfy the Supreme Personality of Godhead and thus solve all problems.
Yeah. The sages further they began to advise the Supreme is worshipped by even the great personalities like great demigods. And when he is satisfied, tasmin tushte kim aprapyam. When the Supreme Lord is satisfied, what is impossible to attain, my dear Vena, the example is in your own dynasty that your own great great grandfather Dhruva Maharaj attained Dhruva Loka at the tender age of 5 by 6 months of devotional service. Tasmin tushte kim aprapyam. When we please the Supreme Lord, what is impossible to attain? All the inhabitants of other planets take great pleasure in offering all kinds of paraphernalia for his worship. In the purport, Srila Prabhupada explains all the Vedic civilization is summarized in this verse. Okay, what a powerful statement, right? All living entities. In Bhagavad Gita, we have seen Yanti Deva Vrata Devan, Pitrun Yanti Pitruvratah, Bhutani Yanti Bhuteja, Yanti Madhya Janopimam. That one who is worshipping the Devata will go to the planet of Devata. But what happens at the planet of the Devata? Right? The planet of the Devata and the worshippers of the Devata simultaneously together engage in the worship of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Right? Because he is the only personality. Eko Bahudan Yo Vidadhati Kaman. So he is the personality who is to be satisfied on this planet or the next by us or the Devata. He is Deva Deveshwara. He is the Devata of all the Devatas. He is supplying everybody's necessities. Yo Vidudhati Kaman. And therefore, here it is, our business is to satisfy the Supreme Lord. Further, Srila Prabhupada explains that the human society has artificially created a type of civilization which makes one forgetfulness of the relationship with the Supreme. Right. And modern society enables one to forget the Supreme's grace and the mercy. How? By simple activities, we have created our life in such a way that we go away from the Lord. And of course, it is irreversible in Kali Yuga. Like, in previous times, we are exposed to the sun, you are exposed to the moon. When we want water, we go to the river or the well, we fetch the water. We are in touch with the ground. When you want some, dhanya grocery, you go to the field. There is so much connect with the nature. And whose nature? Ultimately, the nature is Krishna's nature. There is so much connect with the Supreme Lord. Right. So many people, if you remember those grinding mortar, they will be singing so many songs around. Now the machinized civilization, everything has become automatic. And because everything has become automatic, what has happened is, there is connection with the Supreme through the nature is completely lost. Right. So we are not aware of the Lord's grace and mercy. And we are just getting caught into the very stringent activities of the material nature. Prabhupada writes here, right? People do not know the ultimate goal of life is to approach the Supreme. Nate vidu swartha gatim hi Vishnu. People are becoming very, very swarthi, very selfish, but they neither understand self, that is the Atman, and neither understand the interest of the self, that is swartha gatim hi Vishnu, the Supreme Lord. And thus, they are following one blind leader after another, andhaya tandir upagiyamanat, and following the ditch. Prabhupada says, therefore, it is the primary duty of the state that the people are engaged in satisfying the Supreme. And to convince that the process of devotional service is actually the process to satisfy the Supreme Lord. This is the duty of the state. Right. This is how sages are convincing King Vena that, my dear King Vena, you have to be engaged like this for the welfare of the citizens. Text 21. Just a minute. Text 20. Text 21. तं सर्वलोकम् अमरयज्ञसङ्ग्रहम् त्रयीमयं द्रव्यमयं तपोमयम् यज्ञैर्विचित्रैः यजतः भवायते राजन् स्वदेशान् अनुरोद्धमर्हसि. Translation?
Translation: Dear King, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, along with the predominating deities, is the enjoyer of the results of all sacrifices in all planets. The Supreme Lord is the sum total of the three Vedas, the owner of everything, and the ultimate goal of all austerity. Therefore, your countrymen should engage in performing various sacrifices for your elevation. Indeed, you should always direct them towards the offering of sacrifices. Hare Krishna.
Yeah. Therefore, four things the sages are saying. My dear King Vena, the Supreme Lord is the enjoyer of the results of all the sacrifices. He is the Yajna Purusha. In all the planets, Sarva Loka Amara Yajna Sangraham. Right? So, somebody may be worshipper of Ganapati Bappa, and then one will go to the planet of Ganapati Bappa. What Ganapati Bappa is doing? Ganapati Bappa is doing devotional service unto the Supreme Lord. Sarva Loka Amara Yajna Sangraham. The Devatas on all the planets are engaged in the devotional service to the Supreme Lord. He is the sum total of three Vedas. Yeah. Traimayam, Dravyamayam, Tapomayam. Beautiful verse. Tam sarva lokam amara yajna sangraham. What an amazing word it is. Right? Yajnir vichitrair yajato bhavayate. And therefore, your countrymen should always engage in performing various sacrifices for their and your elevation. Indeed, you should always direct them towards the offering of the sacrifices. Very, very crystal clear Upadesh by the great personalities. Text 22. Now, this is the final verse, which is these Brahmanas are going to conclude their Upadesh to King Vena. यज्ञेन युष्मन् विषये द्विजातिभिर् वितायमानेन सुराकले कलाहरेः स्विष्टा सुतुष्टा प्रदिशन्ति वाञ्छितम् तद्हेलनं नार्हसि वीरचेष्टितुम्. Translation?
When all the Brahmanas engage in performing sacrifices in your kingdom, all the demigods who are plenary expansions of the Lord will be very much satisfied by their activities and will give you your desired result. Therefore, O hero, do not stop the sacrificial performances. If you stop them, you will disrespect the demigods. Thank you, Prabhu.
Yeah. So, amazing verse. Therefore, when all the Brahmanas engaged in performing sacrifice in your kingdom, all the Devatas who are very much satisfied by these activities will give you your desired result. This is important. Yasmin tushte jagat tushtam. Yatha. What is the verse? Yatha taror moola nishechanena trupyanti tatskanda bhujopashakha. When you perform devotional service, all the devatas are automatically pleased. Therefore, tad helanam. Helanam means upeksha karna. Sanketyam parihasyam va. Stobham helanameva va. Helanam means upeksha. Tad helanam narhasi veera cheshtutam. O great hero, O Veera, do not stop the sacrificial performance. If you stop them, you will disrespect the demigods. And this is how very in different ways, very beautifully, the great sages, they tried to convince Vena to let continue the devotional service being engaged at the kingdom. We will conclude here and continue tomorrow. Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Gaura Bhakta Vrinda ki jai. Thank you, Prabhupada. Thank you, everyone. Hare Krishna.
Thank you,
Thank you, Prabhupada. Thank you, Prabhuji. Thank you, everyone. Hare Krishna.
Thank you,
Prabhupada.
Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Prabhupada. Thank you, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Prabhu. Thank you, Prabhu. Hare Krishna.
Prabhuji, I have a question.
Yes, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. No, no.
No.
Prabhuji, you just said that demigods are also engaged in devotional service. So, is it possible to go to spiritual world through heavenly planets also?
Yeah, possible. Possible to go to spiritual world through heavenly planets. Right.
Okay, then,
But distractions are more.
okay.
ठीक है,
That's why
I mean,
we are supposed to come to earthly planet.
I mean, generally, see what happens is, generally, the impetus of devotional service is there when there is artho, jigyas, or artharthi jnani, right? In the spiritual world, there is so much of, in the heavenly planets, there is so much of sense gratification freely available that generally one gets very easily distracted, right?
Yes.
Yeah, so therefore, it is recommended not to aspire, and directly from here one can go to the spiritual realm.
And Prabhuji, if there is, there are devotees who are already doing, like demigods already doing devotional service, then why they have to come to this material world? Like if Punya is over, they have to come again here. But they are already doing devotional service also there now. So is it not
So the
infinite?
great demigods, like the prominent ones, like Ganapati or the Surya Dev, they doesn't have come to the Bhumi Loka, in the Bhumandala. From there itself, they can go back to Godhead. But it is not that all people, all demigod worshippers are aspiring for pure devotional service, right?
Okay.
So people will generally go to the heavenly planets to enjoy, not that it is not that I will. People go to America to enjoy. I mean, to earn more, enjoy more. It's not that I want to do devotional service in America better, right? So similarly, people go to heavenly planets to enjoy the life. Tetvam bhuk, bhuktva swargalokam vishalam. Vishal enjoyment they want to do there. And some of them may be engaged in some bhakti activities, like that it is. But primary intention is, to enjoy life there.
Okay. Understood.
Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Prabhupada. Hare
Thank you, Prabhupada. Thank you, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Prabhupada. Thank you, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.